know me.
Since you have.
I will service the shit out of you.
Creativity in progress. Hello and welcome to Creativity in Progress with where I my Lord.
We're back.
We're back. And we talk about creativity in a whatever this is, a podcast, I guess. And my name is Nathan, and and here with me I have
Ethan Murphy, Nathan Beatty's friend.
And
Sorry, Ethan's friend.
It's
I
been
like
too
you
long.
have no ring rust on you at all. No ring rust. You are
None.
as sharp as you ever were.
Oh God, yes.
Whatever that might be.
Sharp as a doorknob. Sharp as a doorknob.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do.
So how y'all doing today?
Good. Better now.
I'm good. I'm good. I think we should ask, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great.
Yeah.
I've just come back from a long journey to from a foreign land, and I'll talk more about that in next week's episode because this week's episode, one of the things that I did was I went to MagicFest, and that's all about what this episode is doing. So I'll get to that in a little bit because it was kind of cool. But let me go. What specifically? So Ethan, how have you been? Haven't talked to you in a while.
My friend, it's been a good while. I think the last time we spoke, Ari was still just in high school. It's been a few minutes.
Oh, dang. Like 5 months?
Oh, she's a young buck. She's a young buck. But I've been well. I was some news I wanted to share with you guys is that what happened this week, what literally happened yesterday, was that I finally got the option and acquisition from the studio, because Slade and Ash, for all those who don't know or who don't care, Slade and Ash is officially being made for the screen.
Yes!
For either a...
What?
And so this big, long, 22-page document, pretty much as far as all the money and all that kind of bull stuff. But it's what it's saying officially is that it's being optioned to be made for the screen, and I'm an owner of it, and how these are going to play out and everything like that. And I have to meet up with the studio this week, the studio head personally, and sign up with it. My brother, my lawyer, already looked at it, and we're giving it the all clear pretty much, and so it's going to be a go.
That is so cool.
That is awesome.
That's how I'm doing. Yeah. So the little book, the little itty bitty book finally is that book you have on your wall there. I see it right there.
Right there.
The little book will
there.
have its own little movie. Yeah.
That is
Have
amazing.
it in my bookshelf. That's so cool.
Congratulations, dude. Seriously. That is
Me,
amazing.
We are going to throw you a cool ass party when you get back here.
Oh yeah.
I can't wait. Of course, the first person I called was in fact my best friend Susan. Before I called my lawyer, I called my best friend Susan, and her and I geeked out about it. And I told her not to tell you, Ari, so that I could tell you on the air. And I called Mick, and I told Mick the same thing. I said, Mick, don't tell them. I'm going to tell them on air to get their in-time reactions. So
Yeah,
I'll celebrate proper
awesome.
when I get back there.
Cool. That
I'm
is
so proud of
amazing.
you.
Oh, thank you so much.
Man.
And also, thank you guys both, because both of you contributed to its existence, success or not, its existence alone. So thank you both. For those who don't know, Ari did some of the work on the books. She did with the cover for the book number 4. Did some of the design work on Fawn. My favorite picture. I have it still sitting here right next to my computer. The image she got me for my birthday, I think it was. Yeah, my birthday of Fawn, my favorite character. And Nate, obviously, from the very, very beginning, Nate bought all the books, I think multiple copies of the books too.
Yeah.
His wife, the warden, bought issues, pretty much demanding the comic shop kept them in stock. So it was very nice. So all that just to say, thank you very much for your support, both of you, all of you, everyone. So it's a very fun. But yeah, that was my news.
That's I will say again, I'm so proud of you, and that's really awesome. And I can't wait to hear about more news that may or may not develop.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And I will, of course, I will keep you informed as hell. Overwhelmingly informed. You're the person I call at extremely bizarre times at the time. So yeah, I definitely will. Absolutely. And I may have to call upon you again for your services to do some more concept design.
Well, you know me. I will service the shit out of you.
Wow, now I'm disappointed we turned off the video.
That has so many layers. Turn off the video of that. That has got. We have to have that as our cold open and our warm open, everything.
Have it as our hot open. I'm just. Oh God, I can't wait to hear more stuff coming out. So, that's awesome. Okay. Well,
thank you again. Thank you so much. Thank you again. Sure. But this is not the Ethan show. This is obviously the Creativity in Progress show. So, Ariana, how are you doing, my friend?
A what? I said what?
How are you living? How was your week been?
Oh, I'm pretty good. Yeah, very chill. Not much has been like. I mean, compared to both of your news, life has been extremely chill for me. Nothing much has happened, but yeah, I'm doing well.
Okay, I like hearing that though. I'm glad you're doing well. I've
been marathoning since I ran out of Queer Eye episodes. I've been marathoning Great British Bake Off, which is another heartwarming, low stress show.
It is very funny though. Very funny.
It also makes me very hungry, which is a slight drawback, but yeah, very good.
I gained like 10 pounds in the last season. Wasn't.
It's like I need to go buy this immediately.
Have you guys ever tried making those recipes? Is that what you tried doing, Nate?
No. I just go and get Little Debbie, and then I sit there and eat the Little Debbie cakes, and then pretend like I'm eating like froofy English pastries.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So that's how I do it.
I wish I could make those things, but I don't have the patience. Like I can make a cake, and that's about it.
That's a lot more than me. I can make a bowl of cereal.
Yeah, well, I feel that. That's relatable.
But I think also the what's that show, Ari, that's on? There's another one. So it's the Great British Break. Wow, I missed that entirely.
The Great British Breakup, which is
it just has like a bunch of royals breaking up with each other. But there's an American version of that show too, that has Nicole Byer. It's not called the Great American Bake Off, but it's like it's like top, I think is it Top This or I'll look it up. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's Nailed It.
Yes, yeah, yes, it nailed it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like an American humorous version of that, where they it's almost like Iron Chef meets the Great British Wow, I can't do that. Bake Off show.
It's okay.
GBB.
Yeah, it's where they get inexperienced bakers on that try to recreate like amazing, gorgeous pro baker stuff, and the results are just hilarious.
Yes. Yeah. That's the one I watch. I watch that one more often. Yeah. Now, Nate, the little behind the scenes action for you guys.
Uh-huh.
At the start of this, we said we wanted to go ahead and time our opening to make sure we didn't run over and make things too long, too crazy. And of course, things always ensue. So this has probably been much more of a ramble than we meant for it to be before we got into our actual interview. And for that, we apologize to everyone, to Nate for setting his watch, everything.
I'm just sitting here waiting for y'all to let me loose about the thing. I'm like a cheetah in a cage. I'm like,
Oh no, of course.
So
please do, my friend. Please go.
Yes, I am ready to hear it all.
Okay, so y'all buckle up. This is going to take about 6 or 7 hours.
Okay.
No. So for those of you who are not aware, I went. So first, I went on a family vacation, but then at the end of the vacation, I went to MagicFest Richmond, which is a stupid name. They used to be called Grand Prix, not necessarily better in naming convention, but I like Grand Prix better because it's been around long. Yeah, it doesn't sound stupid like MagicFest. Sorry, but anyway, what that is, it's essentially a Magic the Gathering event. and there's artists and they do, and there's a big this event in particular, it was a MagicFest Plus because it had a Grand Prix, which is a more casual but yet competitive tournament, and then they also had a Mythic Championship, which is the competitive tournament where the winners get like $50,000 and all that stuff.
Holy shit!
Yeah, they don't mess around.
That's insane.
Yeah, and but as part of this, like the artists are there, cosplayers come. It's it's just an amazing, cool thing. And I was walking around like a kid in a candy store. I'm just like, I'm like, oh look, there's the LSV, and oh my god, there's Huey Jensen. None of these names make any sense, but there's Nissa Cosplay over there, and there's all these great people. And these are all pros and people, personalities within Magic. So I was really excited. But one of the really cool things was because I went on Thursday, which is the first day of the event, it was kind of slow. There wasn't a lot going on. So I was able to go up to the artists. There were technically five artists there that I sat, and I got to sit down and speak with each of them. And so what I'm going to do is we're going to zoom into those interviews, and so that way you can hear that. And so I hope you all enjoy it. I'm going to try to cut it together because I ask them a lot of the same questions. So so some of the interviews might sound repetitive. I'm going to try to edit it so it doesn't sound that kind of ridiculous. But we're going to go ahead and dive right into that right now. Real quick, before we get into the interviews, I realized this first interview was with Noah Bradley, followed by his wife, Rachel Bradley. I realized I forgot to mention that at the beginning of the interview, so here we go.
So yeah, around the time I was 18, I started taking it super seriously, and then then it kind of snowballed from there. And like once you start putting the time into it, then you get really good at it. Then you get complimented for it a lot because then it's your thing, and then you want to do it more because you like compliments. So it's kind of how I stumbled into it.
That's awesome. Now, I see, as I mentioned, you do a lot of lands and landscapes and that sort of thing. Is that is that a personal preference, or is that just a strength that they've guided you to, or is that?
It's definitely a preference. It is also something I stumbled into. I hated landscapes for a very long time. I would specifically go to a museum and walk right by all the landscape art and not look at it because I found it really boring.
Not a fan of Bob Ross?
Yeah. I mean, I did grow up on Bob Ross, to be fair. But no, I just never got anything out of it. I liked looking at the characters and the portraits and all that stuff and just didn't care about the landscapes. And then when I was somewhere around 20 years old, 21, I actually went outside and started doing some plein air painting. And that's when I decided I really loved landscape painting. I've always been a big nature guy. I like going hiking and getting outside. And so that was a way of me connecting all the stuff I loved about nature with art. And I realized that, I can just be a landscape painter and I combine all these things together. And so that's kind of where I ended up with that. And it also helped that as it turns out, I was very, very good at landscapes almost immediately. Whereas characters I'd been working on for years and years and years, it was like middling at best. As soon as I started doing landscapes, I was doing them professionally within 2 years, and I was doing them for Magic within 3 years of starting to do landscapes. So it kind of snowballed really, really fast for me. So that helps as well.
Yeah. Something I've noticed with a lot of your art, and I'm looking at some of the playmats you have here. Your use of light is frankly amazing. I think it's probably one of the your use of making it almost look like the paintings themselves glow. Was that part of that, just like kind of something that you just discovered that you could do, or was there a lot of study involved in coming up with those techniques?
There was a lot of study. It's something that I've always liked looking at in other people's art, and so it was something that I worked really hard to figure out how they did. So about the time I was starting to look at landscapes, I was looking at all the Hudson River School painters and all the American landscape painters, and I really loved the sense of light they were able to get into their work. And so I started studying that like crazy, and that's where I stole most of my tricks from.
Do you play Magic?
I do. Yes, I do.
What's your favorite format?
The one I've played most of is probably Limited. These days I play a fair bit of Arena because it's just so easy.
Yeah.
I can take a break from painting and play a game on Arena, and it's great. So that's honestly what I play most of. So, yeah.
Do you work digital? I know a lot of your work is digital. I've seen some of your stuff. Do you do any physical media?
I do. Quite a bit. These days, probably most of my stuff is oils. I've switched back and forth, so for my entire time, it's been one or the other. Mostly having to do with whether I'm traveling at the time and can actually have a studio space where I can set up and work. But I'm trying to move back into it and doing most of my stuff these days in oils. So yeah.
That's awesome. Do you? Is there one that you prefer over the other, or is it just whatever you've got? Whatever
I do. I do really like both. So I won't say that like one is better than the other. But if I had to do one for the rest of my life, I'd pick oils just because it's really fun. I learned how to paint in oils, and then I learned digital. So there's something nostalgic about it for me, where I just like sitting in front of an easel and moving my hand around and making cool stuff. So there's something kind of like natural about that. But at the same time, I really like digital. It's a fun process for me. I enjoy all the stuff I get to do with it. So I can't say one's better than the other. But.
Do you, when you get an art description for something that you want they want you to draw or paint? Do you do any, or do you use any like reference photos, or is it just you going out in nature and taking a shot, or is it you go online?
It's a bit of everything. I do a lot of reference stuff. It's actually a project me and my wife do called Reference Pictures, where I actually all of our travel photos, for instance, I take thousands and thousands of these photos from all over the world, and so I offer those as reference pictures because for many years I was using them just for myself, and I realized I had tens of thousands of photos on my computer that I was like, I can upload these. So we offer that kind of stuff, and we also do like costume stuff now. So for all the figurative stuff, we offer that too.
Oh, that's awesome.
So so that's been a fun thing to do. But yeah, so my own process involves some of that, but I usually, before I get to the reference stage, I do a lot of sketching and trying to figure stuff out in my head first. There's a long sketching phase, and then I'll get into some reference to figure out like, okay, what kind of rocks do I want to paint, what kind of mountains, etc. And then
That's awesome. So, and my final question, and I know it's probably the hardest question, and everybody just kind of goes, I can't choose. What is your favorite one that you painted for Magic?
It's probably actually one that I just painted that I get to show next year.
Okay, so you can't.
So I can't talk about that.
You can't talk about it. Okay, that's fine.
The favorite one that I can talk about, probably today, it's probably Doomsday. I really like Doomsday.
Yeah, that's a good one. I really enjoy that one.
I do switch around, but currently I'd say Doomsday. I really like the piece.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it's a great piece. I love it. Well, thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate you talking with me. Appreciate it. And
absolutely.
You have a wonderful day.
Yeah, you too.
And actually, could I talk to you too? Because I know you're an artist as well. Okay. What do you like to draw? What do you like to do?
I actually really like doing figurative work. So anything that's character based. I like heavy design elements, and I like kind of dreamy, whimsical imagery. So where my husband's work's much more landscape based and kind of grungy and scary, mine's a little bit more, some might say girly, but I say dreamy.
So where do you draw your inspiration from when you're trying to come up with these characters and this whimsical thing? Where do you like to go for inspiration?
A lot of it comes from my childhood. So I grew up playing games like Final Fantasy and stuff, and the costume designs always blew me away. So I always had kind of a base in gaming and seeing all these vibrant costumes and characters. Disney is wonderful, just expressive, vibrant characters. And nowadays I look more to classical painters, so things like Alphonse Mucha and like wonderful kind of graphical imagery. And then of course modern painters like my husband and Magic the Gathering artists. There's no shortage of artistic inspiration around.
That's awesome. So when you, with using the reference photos, so you mentioned the project of doing the reference photos. Where did that come from? Did it just come from like what you were saying before about how like you just had all these photos, or is it?
It pretty much. So the landscape stuff really was just that Noah went on holidays and took the photos and uploaded them. And then it was about a year ago that we sat down and I was like, why don't we do characters and figure reference? There's two of us who've got a great camera and like everyone loves the landscape stuff. I would argue it's harder to make up people than it is landscapes, and I'm like, we've got everything set up here. We bought a cloak that we kind of thought was going to be kind of self-indulgent. It was $200, and we were like, if we could just pay this off, that would be a win. And it was wildly popular, and it's been used by countless artists, and it just kind of grew from there. We realized how much of a thing it could be, and we've just loved every second of it.
That's awesome. And what brought you to art?
What brought me to art? It's been like a lifelong tug. So I think my mum likes to tell me that I could hold a crayon before I could hold a fork, and it was always the thing that I wanted to do. But like most artists, I was always told that I shouldn't do that there's no living to be made in art, that I should use my head. And so I spent years pushing myself actually more down a medical route, and I went to university and got a biomedical science degree. I worked in 3D printing when I first graduated, and it was only when I reached that point in my life that I realized how much I couldn't just push the art to one side. I was so creatively drained from spending like 40, 50-hour weeks in the office, and it's been since then that I've been able to claw my way back to it, and I'm really lucky to be where I am right now.
That's awesome. Yeah, as an actor, I completely understand. That speaks to me. My whole life is like, don't be an actor. You're not going to make any money doing that.
You've got no hope.
Yeah, they were right, but that's still, just pushing it to the side was a bad idea.
In progress.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for speaking with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. It's lovely to meet you.
We are here with RK Post, a Magic the Gathering artist, and you've been doing Magic the Gathering art for how long?
I started 20 years ago.
20 years ago, okay.
20 years ago.
Yeah, wow.
That's older than some players here.
Yeah, yes. Do you play? Like, did you?
Me.
I asked you this.
My short, easy answer is no. I mean, have I played? Yeah, I played. But do I have like any skill in it? No, none whatsoever.
Well, you do make up for that in your skill in art, I must say.
Oh, thanks.
But I love your style. You have a very interesting, realistic style like your Unmask, which I bought a print of today. I just really like the composition of it, and with the mask breaking part of it. Is that like a lot of your art tends to kind of draw towards that? Is that something that is it just a strength of yours, or is it something they've guided you to? Like I know we're going over 20 years of art, so there's a ton of different things that you've done over the years. But
I like graphic things like that. I can't say my strength is strong rim lighting or anything like that, but doing just an image that sort of draws you in is kind of probably where my best area of, I would say skill is, but I just kind of like doing things that way.
Is there one of my favorite cards of yours is Avatar of Woe, and the composition of that is very interesting with the main figure in the front and then the figures in the back. Where do you find your inspiration for stuff like that?
I have no idea where that one came from. If you look at the other avatars, they're just a little more straightforward. It's blah in some sort of background, and then that one it was a little more. What's the right word? It's a little more graphic. And honestly, like 18 years ago, I don't remember. I'm sure I saw something that inspired me, and I just kind of pulled off of that. So,
is there a particular place where do you do reference photos? So I know a lot of work, most artists do, but is there a particular type of reference photo that you like to do? Do you do them yourself, or do you find them in books, or how do you tend to do that?
With a lot of the magic art, say like Unmask, I actually grabbed a person, posed her, and then used her as a reference.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then all the costuming stuff is just me. Yeah.
So is there a card that is like a particular favorite of yours that you've done over the years?
Unmask.
Unmask. Oh, really?
That's why it's on the banner behind me.
Oh, yes. That would make sense. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me today. I know you're
my pleasure.
busy. It was wonderful meeting you.
Nice meeting you, too.
Thank you, sir. Hi, we are here with Victor Adame Minguez, an MTG artist, and has done some of my favorite pieces, Atrax's Praetor's Voice, and Morophon, and Ajani, Adversary of Tyrants, just some amazing work. And thank you for chatting with me today.
You're welcome.
And I'm curious, what brought you to art?
I have no idea. I'm going to be honest. I've been doing it since I was a kid. and it was just like it's always been there. Like when I was like in elementary school, everyone that I knew, all my friends, used to draw, but rarely enough I was the only one that kept doing it for reasons unknown to me. And then I just like continued doing it more and more, and here we are now, 30 years later.
That's awesome. Now, I've noticed with a lot of your work, there seems to be like with Bontu and Morophon, there seems to be like a very, very large central figure, and with a lot of small figures kind of surrounding. Is that something that, and it seems to be a theme in your work? Is that something that you draw to? Is that something you like to do, or is that something they ask you to do? To do kind of work like that, like even like Bulwark Giants, kind of similar in that way.
Actually, never thought about that, but like it's a good way to convey scale if you do like one large thing. And like for example, Morophon, the bears and the mammoths, like the size of the real life animals. And when you put them next to the thing that doesn't exist, the only way to like convey that sense of scale is to have something, so the equivalent or something from the real world that the dimensions of. And that's a pretty little neat trick to do that. I don't know if like you're familiar with scaled bird gag that artists have. Like if you put just like a bear, like a bird flying around. That's a great way of conveying scale, because you just like have your huge creature and then a bird flying around, and that's a neat little trick that a lot of artists use. But if you can like have people and stuff, it's good. It like creates an atmosphere.
You actually turned a page and showed the Cult Guild Mage, which you did for I think that was Ravnica Allegiances.
Yes.
Is that? Yeah. And I love and I remember seeing on Reddit how you had actually built a little Jace marionette.
Yeah.
For that. So. Was that something like, now you made that marionette as well?
Yeah,
too.
I did.
Is that another piece of art that you like to do, or was that just for that piece and it was just kind of one?
No, actually, now that you mention it, I actually do it for every piece.
Really?
I do maquettes for like, example like Spawn of Mayhem, the demon. I built a small maquette, and it's really helpful when things don't exist but you need a reference. Okay. Just building it yourself gives you a lot of good shots, a lot of good references that you can't find online, and helps me know where the lights are going to be, shadows are going to be, and I don't have to figure any of that stuff out. And I also like sculpture. I like sculpting things. It's a good time away from the computer.
Yeah, it gives you a break. Now, you mentioned a computer. So are you mostly digital, or do you do any physical media other than the sculpture and the
right now, I'm only doing oil painting exclusively.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. If time is a little bit, if time's the issue, then I'll probably do digital. But right now, like since Throne of Eldraine, since Theros that's coming out next year, it's all traditional.
Okay.
I think except for one piece where the deadline was kind of close and I had to do it digitally. But yeah, I've been doing that right now. For example, Disenchant, that's traditional. Levican Brawler is traditional. Boreal Elemental is traditional. So yeah, that's one little challenge that I wanted to, something that I wanted to challenge myself to do. Which is what I did in college. Like that's how I started. And then, it's funny because I thought like all the cool kids were doing computer stuff, and I was like, I thought that was the way to go, but.
Well, it was kind of the angle at the time. It was like, well, we can do this, let's do it. And then, and then now it's kind of, there's almost been like a flashback of that, which I think is actually great, because, having a physical piece like this Disenchant that you did for M20 is just amazing. I really like how you can't even tell. Like I probably would have said that was digital just because your blending of the paints was just amazing. So yeah, that was just an awesome job.
Thank
there.
you.
I did want, because I noticed as you were flipping through here, your Azuri Renegade Leader that you did for Goblins versus Inventors. I noticed, and it's also, and a little bit to Valduke too. There's almost a stylized nature to that. It's very different from the rest of your art. Were you going through like a particular, for lack of a better term, phase of wanting to do art like that, or was that just something you just wanted to try and go from there?
Actually, that's one of the ways that I like doing art. And if I had to pick a way of doing things, this would be the way that I would do it.
Really?
Just like character and very simple background. But usually in Magic you have to do, like the action piece, you have to do like a lot of figures, fighting or whatnot. Stuff like this. But yeah, this is kind of the way that I like to approach things. Like simple character that kind of contrasts the color of the background and background's simple as I can. Let me see if I have more examples. But now, probably this one, Tajir Path Warden.
Yeah, that's similar to Azuri. And I like that. Yeah. I like that style. I really do. In fact, I do believe that Azuri is probably my favorite piece of yours.
Thank you.
That you did. It's an excellent, and Anointed Procession. I love that. With the composition there is great. The way you draw the eye here to the center is just really awesome job. I could sit here and just gush over your work forever. How does it feel to have one of your cards banned?
Pretty bad, because I used to sign playsets and playsets of that, geez. And now I don't.
I'm sorry to open that wound.
I mean, it's flattering that they think it's good enough or broken enough to ban it, but it has nothing to do with the art.
Oh yeah.
And I can't take credit for the mechanics, so there you go.
All right. Well, so before I let you go, what is your favorite piece that you've done for Magic?
I don't know. Right now, the ones that are out, probably Shalai is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Shalai too.
But I have stuff coming out. That is my favorite. Yeah, stuff that I can't talk about. That's coming out that I feel really proud of.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking with me
welcome.
Today. It was wonderful meeting you.
Yeah, you too,
and good luck with the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Nathan dropping in here because I had another little thing that I wanted to say. The next part of the interview is with Howard Lyon, who was unbelievably gracious. He was just so wonderful. He sat and talked with me for a while, even before I turned on the recorder. And then later I came back and asked him if it would be okay if we recorded us sitting there and talking. And then he has sat there and talked with me for just as long before I turned on the recorder. And then I remembered that then I realized I didn't turn on the recorder. And so I was able to get this part of the interview. But it was just awesome to talk with him. He was just a very sweet guy, and I would love to have every one of these folks come back on, but I really would like Howard to come back so that way we could chat with him. So, but yeah, so I hope you all enjoy this last interview, and then we're going to get back to the three of us in the studio. So hope you enjoy.
Kind of digital tools, which was probably dumb. I could have sped things up, but it kept me using the same almost working practices to work in oils.
That's awesome. So, now here's my question: do you play Magic?
I do a little bit. So
bit?
I've been very fortunate. I live by Brandon Sanderson, and he loves Magic. He wrote a story for Magic recently, and he holds drafts at his house, and I get invited to come play.
That's awesome.
And so that's usually when I play. And I'm terrible. And most of the people there are amazing. Like Steve Argyle and Kat, they go and they're fantastic Magic players. So I just get clobbered, but it's fun to be there with everyone.
I have a play group that I play with on the regular, and my buddies, they've always been better Magic deck builders and players than me, but I just enjoy playing it. I just enjoy,
it's a great game.
Well, there's so many aspects to it. Like one of the things that drew me to Magic when I was young was the art. Like it was all the different, like it was like a window to other worlds kind of thing. and then the combination of the game and the collector aspect, you know, and all of that, were just like, I was just drawn in, and I just loved it. And you mentioned that you worked for video games. What were you doing for the video games?
So some of the biggest games that I've worked on, I worked on StarCraft Brood Wars.
Okay.
So that was a fun one to do work for. I actually still do some video game work, and I'm doing work for Diablo 4.
You're kidding!
Yeah. So that's been a tough secret to sit on for a while.
Oh man, that must have been amazing whenever that trailer dropped. And
yeah, it was fun to see it come out. So what I'm doing for Diablo 4 are all of the icons for the game.
Oh, you are? Oh,
yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
We can talk about it.
Yeah, it's like, it's out.
Yeah, well, what was funny was I was actually on vacation last week, so I took the family to Disney World. So I joke around and I say I started the week in the Magic Kingdom, and now I'm into getting MagicFest.
Nice.
But they announced it while I was there, so I didn't even know about it. And we get home, and I'm looking at my thing, and I'm seeing all this talk about Diablo 4, and I'm like, because I love Diablo. Diablo is yeah. And I'm like, what the heck happened? Like, I missed it.
Yeah.
But that's amazing. That's awesome. So, like, did you like, was that the first work you've done for Blizzard, or?
No, I'd done some work for the World of Warcraft trading card game in Hearthstone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you do cards for Hearthstone, or?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So it's been a while, and really what happened is they killed off the TCG and just took some of the art that I had done and used it in Hearthstone.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I remember reading a little bit about that.
Yeah, because they used to have a physical game, but they recycled a lot of the artwork from that into Hearthstone.
Uh-huh.
So, and then I also have done almost every single icon for Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Oh, that's
So it's like
awesome.
2,800 icons for that game.
Jeez, my goodness. So, like, I'm interested to know, like, how do you? Because, like, I can see from Magic, like, you get the art sheet of, like, what the description of what they want. Like, how does it work with an icon? Like, is it essentially a similar thing, or do they say we want this theme, or like?
It depends on what kind of icon. So if it's like an armor icon, they usually send me a shot of the 3D model.
Oh, okay.
Or the concept art, and then I build icons from it.
Okay.
Other things might be more like we need a severed head and a severed hand or something like that, or a skull, or and so then it's pretty straightforward. And then other times, sometimes the icons might represent an ability or something along those lines, and then it's more of a concept.
That's awesome.
In Star Wars, I did a lot of ability icons. So
Yeah.
like dual wielding lightsaber attack where they're coming from above,
Oh, that's awesome.
or it might be like maybe the ability is titled Last Stand or something. So the icon's supposed to represent like the desperate times,
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. All right. Well, I think I've taken up enough of your time, but I did have one more question.
Yeah.
And I know it's probably a hard one, but what is your favorite? I want to ask what's your favorite card that you've done, but yeah, like what's your favorite art that you have done for Magic the Gathering?
That is a hard question to answer. There's a piece that I felt like was kind of, a piece that was important for me to do, and that was Angel of Flight Alabaster. And it kind of opened my eyes up to what magic art could be. So that one definitely was important to me, but I loved every card that I got a chance to do for Throne of Eldraine. So that was such a great set.
Yeah, that is an awesome set. We were talking about it earlier. About it does harken back so much to Lorwyn and everything. So it's just awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking your time today and
really
chatting
nice
with me.
to chat with you.
Really appreciate it. Thank you again.
Yeah. All right. Thanks a lot.
Take care, sir. So those were my interviews.
I hope y'all like them. So that all of those artists were fantastic to talk to, and as you probably heard in the interviews, so Noah Bradley and Rachel Bradley, they have artcamp.com. You want to go check that out. They have a lot of reference photos and things. You want to make sure you also check out Victor Adame Minguez. He's amazing. His art is just like, if you get a chance, his art is more. The styles of the artists are just so vast. RK Post was one of the artists that I spoke with. He has been doing magic. Of all the artists I spoke with, he's been doing it the longest. He's been doing it for over 20 years now. And a lot of the art that I grew up playing magic with was his. So that was really cool to get to talk to him. Unfortunately, his was the shortest, as you probably heard, is the shortest because he had so many people coming up to him. Because he was really smart. There's a thing going on in the game of Magic right now where a certain card is dominating, and he was able to make tokens that kind of capitalized on that, and he was selling them hand over fist. Like, it was just like, it was unbelievable. But anyway, so it was really great. And then finally, Howard Lyon, he was amazing to talk to. In fact, I talked to him for like 25 minutes. Unfortunately, I only recorded 6 of it, but he was an amazing guy, and I actually think I want to try to get him on the podcast as a full guest because he was just a sweetheart. And yeah, so I hope y'all enjoyed that. So
absolutely, yeah, bring him on, of course.
Yes.
So
let me ask you this though: was it hard for you to like not just explode when you walked in the door at MagicFest, just seeing an entire world of people that are as into magic, if not more into magic than you?
Oh, it was difficult. It was like, it was walking in, and it was like pretty much from the moment I walked in, I was just vibrating. Like, I was just buzzing the entire time. And something I haven't mentioned thus far, they did this sneaky thing. About a month ago, they announced the Mystery Booster. It was a mystery product. And they were going to reveal it at MagicFest Richmond on Thursday. That's why I went. I signed up for the tournament, and I was part of the tournament that revealed this new product. And so that was really exciting too, to experience that. So that was really cool to see. And they did a really cool thing with the cards that you got, and it was just a lot of fun. To go into any further detail, it's getting into Magic Inside Baseball, and I know none of us want that except me. So
well, I mean, I'm really happy for you. Matter of fact, I can only imagine what it'd be like to be in that kind of basically a kid in a candy store to the nth degree for you.
Oh, it was amazing.
That sounds so cool. And I'm so glad you had a great time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And one thing, as mentioned in the interview, Howard Lyon, he did art for Diablo 4. And he was able to talk about it a little bit, which was cool. And I think I got that in the interview. I think I hope I was able to cut it in. So that was really exciting to talk to him about that, because he was excited to talk about it because because it had been revealed, and so then MagicFest was the first event that he was at where he could talk about it because he was so excited.
It's been like bottled up. Yeah, his non-disclosure finally ended. Yeah,
I can tell you it is so satisfying to be able to talk about something that you've been working on for so long and not being able to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. That's amazing.
Yeah. So
I love it, man. Well done. Very well done, sir. Very well done.
Awesome. Okay. Well, this gushing, I'm just gushed everywhere. People are going to need towels. Yeah.
I think next to Ari servicing me and you gushing everywhere, we have more than enough cold opens and hot opens for weeks.
Yep.
I'm glad.
We need a George Michael opening track.
That's awesome. Oh God. Okay. Well, I'm gonna. So Ethan, is there anything you'd like to plug?
Yes, there is. So there's a anime. I know Nate is not a fan of anime, but there's an anime called Vinland Saga. Have you seen that or read the manga?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it. Please go on and tell me if it's good or not.
It's great. It's really, really great. So it's actually not based on a true story or anything like that, but they do pull from actual events and actual people in this anime. And the anime just came out this year, but it's already getting all kinds of praise. People are sleeping on it a little bit, but anyone who does check it out is pretty much over the moon for it, because it does pull from real Norse, like some Norse mythology or what have you, but also from actual events that happened in Denmark when Denmark was fighting against England and everything else, and the actual characters that were involved in those wars. It's a very well-made anime. If you're into history or just even like epic wars or things of that nature, it's a great show to watch. So I highly recommend that one.
Cool.
Ari, is there anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, actually. Amazing, I know. So the TV adaptation of His Dark Materials has started airing.
Right.
They're on episode 2 now on HBO. And it's one of my favorite book series of all time. And so far, the adaptation has been really good.
Nice.
I'm just really excited about it. And it's gorgeous. And if you're interested in sci-fi fantasy, then definitely check it out.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
Right on. Nathan Beatty Jr. the third. Is there anything you've had time to be into besides Magic that you'd like to plug?
Not really. So I'm gonna go the I'm gonna go the easy route and plug the and encourage our audience to go check out the artists that we spoke with that I spoke with this past week.
Seconded.
Yeah, check out their
thirded.
Yeah, if you check out their site, their websites, we're gonna put all their links and everything in the show notes, and I might even do a drop in and have the audio here too, so that way you can have it and you can go and see. And that drop-in is happening right now. So if you want to find Noah Bradley, go to noahbradley.com. You also can go to artcamp.com. That is the reference library thing that I was talking about with him. If you want to check out Rachel Bradley, you can find her at rachelbradley.com. It features a lot of her art. You can find Howard Lyon at howardlyon.com. I'm noticing a theme. You can find RK Post at rkpost.net. Aha, switched it up on you. And then Victor Adame Minguez, you can find his stuff at victoradameart.com. That's Victor, VICTORADAME. ART.com. Then Mark Tedin, you can find him on Facebook if you search for Mark Tedin Illustration. His last name is Tedin. And then, so I think that's everybody. Also, I'll throw out a quick plug for Nissa Cosplay, NISSA_cosplay, COSPLAY. I will probably mispronounce cosplay every time I say it. So check her out. She was there too. I wanted to talk with her, but unfortunately she was a very popular person and there was a ton of people around her at all times, so I wasn't able to get to her. So, but check her out too. She does amazing costumes. It's really great. And I think that's it. If I forgot anybody, I apologize, and I'll probably try to plug them in a later episode. So, thank you so much, and back to the show. Noah Bradley, Rachel Bradley, Victor Adame Minguez, RK Post, and Howard Lyon. I also want to plug Mark Tedin. He was one of the artists. He's also an amazing artist, one of my favorites in Magic, but I wasn't able to speak with him, unfortunately. Just things timed out not right, but definitely if you check out his work too, he's amazing. These artists, they put out a lot of money to go to these events and talk to people and be just this awesome. And sometimes they don't always get that back. So I want to try to do as much as I can to get people to go and buy their stuff and see what they're doing. So go ahead, check them out.
You are a good person.
You really are. I don't know how we're friends. You're an amazing person.
Well, I see these people put what we're doing here. We're putting a lot of work and effort into this content, and all we want to do is people for us to listen to it and see it, and that's kind of what I want to. Well, spread the love, man. Just spread the love.
Of course, no, absolutely.
Doing that. It's awesome.
Yes, thank you. Please keep doing you. Yes, and you're right. Like Nate said, support artists.
So Ethan, are you saying you're plugging me?
No,
I missed you, my friend. I really, really, really missed you.
Anything else before I wrap this puppy up?
no, I'm good.
No, I would like to point out that that's an amazing new catchphrase you come up with. Wrap this puppy up. That's a good one. So yes.
Awesome.
But other than that, no.
Cool. All right. You can find Ari on Twitter at Ornerine. You can find Ethan at echelongnovels.com. You can find me at nathanbeattyvo.com. And you can find more information on the podcast at echelongnovels.com/CIP or our website, thecipnetwork.com. You can call us at 434-481-1787 and leave us a voice message, and we'll play it here on the show. You can email the podcast directly at nate@thecipnetwork.com. You can check us out on YouTube. You can check us out on Twitch. We're actually putting more content out on YouTube. So be sure to check out our YouTube channel. And you can also support the podcast directly at thecipnetwork.com/support, or go to Patreon and search for Creativity in Progress Podcast. Our intro and outro music is the song Amigos by Platinum Butterfly, copyright 2015, licensed under Creative Commons Attribution 3.0. You can find more of their stuff at dig.ccmixter.org, featuring Clarence Simpson and Susan Oohs Ahs. As always, thank you so much for listening, and y'all have a wonderful day.
Clarence Thomas.
That was unintentional.
What is that?
What kind of interviews did you do?
And where were y'all really?